live from Palm Beach, far away from my poor old city that seems to be going to be the first communist city in America. He is not a socialist only. He is a communist, and he is a enthusiastic supporter of Islamic extremist terrorism, which means Islamic violence. There's no doubt about it. The people that he supports, the people that he stands up for, and the statements that he makes shows which side of the line he falls down on with regard to the Muslim religion. Now, the Muslim religion, you could conveniently, if you want, for analysis purposes, divide into three. You have, let's say, two of the three are religious Muslims. So as a religious Muslim, you could literally follow the teachings of Muhammad. And that is, of course, what the Reign of Terror in Iran does. That's what all of the Sunni and Shiite terror groups do. That's what the imam that he is very, very close to and that he made a point to visit with right before the election and announced that he's the most influential imam. Well, the most influential imam was an unindicted co-conspirator in the 1993 bombing of the World Trade Center, a year before I was the mayor. He was also very close to the blind sheikh and testified, I believe, on his behalf. The blind sheikh was convicted of multiple murders and was put in jail for 100 years and then threatened to kill the judge. He also was an apologist for the September 11 attacks on my city, for which he should have been thrown out of the city. You can't because of free speech, but you kind of wish that you could. And then finally, of course, he was overjoyed by the massive barbaric murder of women and children in Israel, the worst attack on the Jewish people since Hitler. And his hatred for the Jewish people is legendary. His comments about them, too many to mention, kind of similar to Mandami himself. And this is not the only Islamic terrorist that he supports or his father supports. He is clearly on that side of the line. He is not a moderate Muslim. He's a supporter of the most violent people that interpret the Quran. Hey, who can argue with him? That's what Muhammad said. Go kill the Jews, go kill the Christians. And he did. Muhammad spent a good deal of his life being a mass murderer. The part about being a pedophile is somewhat in dispute, although not much. But the part about being a mass murderer, no dispute. Question is, do you follow it or don't you? He follows the people who follow it. He hates the Jewish people. It's visceral and disgusting. Now you have a group of Muslims who elect to remain Muslims, remain religious, but they just read it out. They read it out. They either pretend or deliberately reject those teachings of Muhammad as being antiquated and a product of the times, and therefore not to be repeated today. But of course, the terrorist Muslims are repeating it today. That's exactly what they're doing. Did you ever wonder how their most important, if it is their most important religious period and feast day, that Ramadan is always a time when we're alerted to watch out for Muslim attacks? Do you remember that ever happening with the Jewish High Holy Days? I don't know. I ran a city in New York. We never had to have extra police for Jewish High Holy Days except to protect them. But the Jews weren't going to run around killing people. And we never had to worry about Easter with the Christians. When Ramadan came down, I had a lot of police on the street. I also stopped before September 11 any number of Muslim, Islamic terrorist attacks on New York, including one man who was shot dead just reaching for a toggle that would have blown up an entire building. He was going to do it in the name of Allah. Obama suppressed so much of this. Remember the guy who went into the army base and shot the people yelling Allah Akbar? Mm, They weren't going to list it as an Islamic terrorist murder. I don't know. I investigated a lot of cases. When you tell me your motive, I kind of figured it out. You didn't need Sherlock Holmes to figure out that the guy was doing it on behalf of Islamic terrorism. Nor did I need much to figure out that the guy that was going for the toggle switch, who was also yelling, Allah Akbar, was going to try to kill my people in the name of Allah. Nor do I forget or will ever forget that he did successfully kill thousands of my people yelling out Allah Akbar. The people who died on September 11 didn't die because of bad weather. They didn't die because of something the U.S. did or Israel did or England did or Germany did. Or it's like really easy. There were 19 people in that plane. 15 of them came from Saudi Arabia. They were all terrorists. They were all Islamic terrorists, and they did it in the name of Muhammad. So thank you, Muhammad, for what you did to my city, and screw you. Now, I don't understand how just a few years later, New York City votes for a guy, not a Muslim, but a Muslim who supports the violent part of the Muslim religion. Brainwashed? And then, of course, you have Muslims that aren't religious at all, like you have Christians and Jews who aren't religious at all. They may retain affiliation with the religion for some sentimental purpose or even identification purpose, but they're not overly involved in the teachings or how to deal with them or the ceremonies. So when people say that not all Muslims are terrorists, yes, true, but then don't overstate it. Don't say, like President Bush said, Islam is a peaceful religion. Islam has been a source of more violence, more war, more conquest, and in fact spreads the religion by conquest, which is kind of unusual for a religion, and then enforces it on people than any movement in the world. I mean, if you just look at the Ottoman Empire, but even before that, take Iran. Before Muhammad, Iran was a Zoroastrian country. It was a I guess would be described as a pagan religion, although a pagan religion with a lot of scientific learning that came along with it. And a very, very cultured people, the Persian people, great libraries, great scientific discoveries. After Muhammad died, after he mass murdered Jews and Christians, one of his successors, maybe the second or the third or the fourth caliph, decided to invade Iran. Well, they did. They invaded Iran. They committed genocide against the Zoroastrians, and they forced all Iranians to be Muslims. And of course, Iranians kind of got back at them by creating the Shiite, helping to create the Shiite Sunni split that has plagued the religion forever and ever. I mean, they kill each other over that as much as they kill us. So I mean, we concentrate a lot on his being a communist, and that's sure dangerous. But the other one is even more dangerous and has to be watched very, 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 very carefully. What does that mean? What's he going to do with the terrorism task force that was so well put together by my three police commissioners and then brilliantly expanded by Commissioner Kelly? What is he going to do with that? I mean, the terrorism task force, when I was mayor, saved so many lives. I can't tell you. And then after that, even more. Is he going to fund the terrorism? Well, first of all, they've been defunded already by the communist de Blasio, never refunded by Adams. The police department is down $1 billion, and it went from 41,000 to 33,000. And a lot of that came out of the terrorism task force and the anti-crime unit, which was dissolved. The anti-crime unit was the reason why we were able to so quickly cut murders from 2,000 plus under Dinkins to what I left to Bloomberg, which was about 600. And then they did, and Bloomberg used it. Kelly used the anti-crime unit, and de Blasio did away with it. And Adams never had the guts to really reestablish it. He kind of puttered around with it. That was part of Adams' problems. He had the right ideas often, but then he didn't have the intestinal fortitude to fight the gargantuan Democrat Party. And, we don't know about the case against him, do we? If he's personally involved or not. I don't. And I wouldn't make that assumption, because I investigated Contra's administration, and a Democrat, and it was filled with corruption, and he didn't know about it. Now, he's a special kind of strange man in many ways, who lived in his own little world, and was not interested at all in money. You watch the way he lived, you could tell that. So what he did do is make compromises with massive crooks, and just let them play around. Now, that could be Adams, or he could be involved in it. But there's no doubt that there was massive corruption in the Adams administration, and signature corruption. Adams had been a borough president. As a borough president, he was whacking up homeless contracts. What that means is, when they went for homeless contracts from the federal government, that supplies most of the money, by the way. We'll see how long that lasts. New York would always say New York's more expensive, so it's got to be 30% more than Pennsylvania. And as long as Democrats were there, they got whatever the hell they wanted. You know what that 30% was for? So that when they gave out the contract, the guy who took over, who was going to pull maybe $10-12 million out of it for himself, had another extra 12 or 15 million to pay off the public officials. And then, just to make it even worse, all the subcontracts that he controlled were even more than the contract. Subcontracts, like if you're running like 5 homeless facilities, you're going to need a caterer. I suppose that's your wife. She owns that company. You're going to need a security company. Suppose that's your brother. You're going to need a livery service. Well, suppose that's your son. What I'm just describing to you is the rule in New York rather than the exception. It's the reason that New York's budget is the same as the state of Florida. And New York serves only 8 million people, and Florida serves 21 million people. But there is nowhere near the level of stealing in Florida that there is in New York. Now, I don't know what this Muslim extremist, socialist, communist are going to do about that. They will just go along and just do it, whatever he's doing. If he's trying to make free buses, if he's trying to make free grocery stores, if he's trying to make sure that as many kids get mutilated as possible, they'll just go along with their stuff. And unless he cracks down on them, they'll just go wild on this guy. And he seems like a naive asshole. So the Democrat politicians in New York City who've been doing it for 170 years you're thinking about just one thing. This was the best thing that ever happened to them. They get themselves some ideological freak. And it's bad enough if they have a competent mayor. They still steal. With something like this, it'll be an absolute disaster. So Ted and I got out a list of all the mayors of New York City. And they're all together in 100. This guy, the communist, is the 111th mayor of New York City. I was the 107th. Because the mayor of New York City goes back to Cornelius von Steenwyck in 1668. That's even before we were a country, right? The first Republican mayor, as you might expect, came in the year after Lincoln was elected. Lincoln was a Republican. I mean, all the good presidents were Republican. In 1862, George Updike won, but he only had one term. And then you get a Republican Democrat in 1873. He dies, and he's succeeded by a Republican in 1874. Now we go a couple of generations, and we go into the next century before we get we get one at the end of the 19th century, S.B.H. Vance. But he only seems to have made it for 1 year, 1874 to 1874, because he took over for something listed as a Republican Democrat, Ted. I don't know what that means. Then we move ahead to 1895, and we have a Republican fusion mayor, William Strong. And then in 1913, we have Adolph L. Klein. And then in 1934, we have one whose name you're going to remember, Fiorello LaGuardia, because you fly into his airport all the time. And then you've got to go all the way several generations later to John Lindsay, but John Lindsay quits and becomes a Democrat in his second term. So I don't know if we count him or not. And then the next one is yours truly. And then the century ends. And then Bloomberg got elected as a Democrat, but eventually quit the party. So I like to say I'm, one of just a few that remained a Republican. So in 200 and something, 50 years, 40 years, 50 years, whatever it is, and 111 mayors, we got about 8 Republicans. And we only have about 6 to remain Republican. That's absurd. You want to look at the number of Democrats? I would guarantee you, without even looking, that the vast majority of those Democratic administrations were so crooked, your head would spin. Remember, Boss Tweed comes from New York. He helped to create corruption in America. It's one of our products that we export to other Democrat cities. So let's see what Mondami does. He is going to try to do these things. He's going to face tremendous opposition to a lot of them. Trying to tax the rich, he's got to get the state to agree to it. Hochul is up for re-election. Ain't no way she's doing it. I guarantee you she will not do it. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with that. Free buses, he doesn't control the buses. She does. The governor controls the buses. So the governor would have to agree to make the buses free, and she can want to know where she's going to get the 700 million plus to do that at a time in which the state budget, by the way, you want to compare Florida? It's almost 2.5 times the state of Florida. And the state of New York is 18 million and Florida is 21 million. So we could do the same. Albany, I once said when I was very young and bold, and I really wanted to be U.S. attorney in New York, and I did, but I said, maybe I'll take the job in Albany. I think I could put them all in jail, meaning the entire legislature. And the guy looked at me like I was, I was kidding. He looked at me and said, well, you probably could. I was joking. I just had some corruption cases, and it seemed like they were all crooked. I'm sure they weren't all crooked, but I bet we could have made a big dent in it. I did an investigation of the New York State highway commissioners, Republican and Democrat. I did 50 of them. I did with the FBI. We did a sting operation with the FBI. We offered bribes to them, basically $20,000 bribes to get contracts. 49 of 50 accepted them. But don't think there was an honest one. The guy who didn't accept it because there wasn't enough money. So I went back to the FBI, and luckily, Bill Webster was a good friend of mine, because the FBI wouldn't authorize the extra money. I said, let me just give him 40, I'll get him. I want to try at least. So I went to Bill Webster, and he authorized the 40,000. We got him like that. Man, we got him so fast. It was like, I think we went out and celebrated. You don't want to celebrate corruption if you shouldn't, but it ended up being a pretty equal distribution of Democrats and Republicans. But I do have to say, Republicans are episodic, opportunistic crooks. Democrats are systemically crooked. And in many places like your state and mine, Republicans live off the Democratic crumbs. So shall we take a break, and then we'll be back.
We'll be right back.
Okay. U.S. Army Major Scott Smiley paid a high price serving our nation. Scott was leading his platoon in Iraq when a blast sent shrapnel through his eyes, leaving him blind and temporarily paralyzed. Scott would become the first blind active duty military officer before medically retiring years later. Thanks to friends like you, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation gave Scott and his family a mortgage-free, specially adapted smart home. Show your support for America's heroes now. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org.
Are you ready for some action?
I'm ready for action.
Get the Elite TV plan only through the portal. 218 channels, and it's only $69.95 a month,
Wow.
including your free portal.
That's cheaper than everyone else.
Your favorite sports, movies, news,
Wow.
even daytime dramas. We're talking about ESPN, OAN, Newsmax,
Wow.
channels you can't get anymore in certain areas.
Compared to the competition, this is a way better deal.
Endless selection. Not to mention all the free music channels. There's over 700 premium and classic movies all ready to go.
Wow.
Plus, they got catch-up TV that allows you to go back and watch what you've missed or want to watch again. Cut your cable in half and get twice as much for free.
Way more channels for half the cost.
After the first year, the subscription then drops to $57.95 monthly,
Wow.
where you change or upgrade anytime. Go to QUXNow.com and get yours today. Use promo code RUDY. Act fast. These deals are selling out.
Here we are, pretty much at the beginning of the process here at this pristine, I call it a laboratory. It's not like a factory, it's like a hospital. This is the beginning of the process for roasting. Deep grain, very good quality. Most people don't use this quality. We deal with small farmers because we like to know who we're dealing with. They give us the highest quality, all organic, non-GMO. You should know all Arabica beans, no Robusto, all Arabica. They're going to go into the roaster, and it'll get roasted for about 20 minutes or so. Oh my goodness, look at these. My goodness. You're going to want to specially order these. This is what goes into Rudy's Coffee. Of Venezuela, but I got to get this quote in. I got to get this quote in before I forget, because you know I have a love-hate relationship with the Wall Street Journal, right? Right now it's in the love stage. Holman Jenkins had the quote of the day. He goes over all the things the Democrats did to get Clinton to get Trump elected. How they overdid the Russian collusion thing. How they lied about the 51 spies who lied about the hard drive and the computer. How they lied about Biden being from 2018 demented. How they overdid what he considers a legitimate bad situation, January 6th, by comparing it to the Civil War and the Second World War and September 11, and then how they overdid prosecuting him, four times in 1 year. I mean, it's obvious you're trying to stop him from being president. And now he says electing Mondami is another big gift. He says the irony is too much. In their actions, Democrats and the media continue to function as an in-kind contribution to the Trump political campaign. I think that's right. I think they're an in-kind contribution to the Trump political campaign. Well, while we've been paying attention to elections, and of course we have paid a lot of attention to the war in Ukraine and the war in the Middle East, I would say we're at the point now where I will take very, very seriously what's going on in the Caribbean. We have more naval forces there than most of the navies in the world. maybe China, maybe England, maybe Russia. Russia doesn't have a big navy, actually, it has a small one. We've got our most powerful aircraft carrier and its entire fleet. We have 2 destroyer groups. We have any number of Marines. We have special forces. We have surveillance, and we have, of course, our new weapon, drones. They're all off the coast of Venezuela. They've taken out, that we know, 16 drug boats. They are determined to stop drug coming in from Venezuela. Maduro has been indicted for this now for 5 years, and nothing, of course, was done by the Biden administration except to give Maduro more money. Maybe the Biden people like drugs coming into America. I could think of a reason why they might like it, right? Could you? I could think of a reason. Yeah. No one ever figured out where the drugs in the White House came from. I figured out who they were for, but that's only because I'm absolutely brilliant. I mean, it was really impossible to figure out who those drugs could be for. So now there are leaks denied twice by the Secretary of State, Rubio, kind of teased around by Trump. Hard to tell what he's really saying about Venezuela. The Senate, of course, who really works for any country that opposes Trump or America, wants to try to stop him. They don't even know what he wants to do, but they want to try to stop him. I mean, let's help Venezuela. Venezuela is really a great place. They gave us a disproportionate number of the rapists and murderers that we got. They are sending in massive amounts of cocaine in particular. The worst group of all the groups that we inherited was Tren de Aragua from Venezuela. And Maduro clearly emptied out his crazy houses, his nut houses, his insane asylums, and sent them to America. And they've taken over like cities, like even in Denver. So you've got several reasons why Trump is interdicting the drug boats, and also doing more than that. It's quite obvious, and the president has to be careful here with exactly how he does it, because there are so many laws and rules to go through. He can do anything he wants. It's not a war about drugs. That's to protect us domestically. And you can use the military for that outside the United States. You can't use the military for domestic law enforcement inside the United States, but you can use the military outside the United States to assist in protecting us against something that could be fatal, which includes drugs. Now, Maduro, he tried to get Maduro out in his first term, and it didn't work. Right now, the Miami Post, the Miami Herald, which is not exactly a Trump newspaper by any means, says that the Venezuelans are leaking to the Venezuelan military.
Right.
That if Trump were attacked, it would be over in half a day.
Wow. They
They don't really have a military. They don't know how to fight.
Right.
And they never really fought a war. I mean, they torture their people, they kill their people, but they don't really. We will show you later what we have assembled off Venezuela, and you'll be shocked. I mean, it's massive number of naval weapons, some of the biggest and best that we have in the world. And I can't believe they're just sitting there to get the sun.
Well, Mayor, with that being said, as we continue to talk about Venezuela, we want to bring on tonight a very special guest. We have former Miss Venezuela. She just ran for Congress in a heavy Democrat area.
Where? In what state?
Houston, Texas, outside of Houston.
Right. That's what I thought.
And we'll get back to that race, of course. But more importantly, we want to talk about Venezuela. So we have with us former Miss Venezuela, Carmen Maria Montiel, who joins us live now.
Well, good evening, Mayor Giuliani. It's a pleasure for me to be with you tonight.
Well, it's a great honor. It's a great honor for us also, and congratulations on your race, and good luck on what's coming up.
Well, it was over. I was running second in the polls consistently in a field of 16 candidates, and at the last minute something happened. But I think you and I know what happened. We no longer have clean elections in United States, and that's something that Americans need to be aware of. And once the Democrats get the hold on a city or an area, like here Houston, I'm in the city of Houston, the Democrats just running the city and the county, they don't let it go.
Well, tell us about it. We really can't tell exactly what the president has planned. He certainly wants to cut off the drug trafficking with I think it's called the Cartel of the Suns, that's run by
Cartel de los
Maduro.
Soles. Yeah, Cartel de los Soles.
But I also think he wouldn't mind seeing Maduro out, and it looks like the fleet that he has put together is probably the kind of fleet you'd put together to stop China from invading Taiwan. I mean, it's a hell of a military operation. Tell us what it's like in Venezuela, how necessary this is. I mean, if he has regime change in mind, is that a good idea?
It is a good idea. The country is being under a communist criminal regime for over 25 years. The reality is all communists run out of money, even in a country as rich as Venezuela is. As you know, we're I believe we're number one in oil reserve in the world.
Yeah, sure.
And we have coltan, and we have gold. We have so many minerals, but they don't know how to manage it. They're stealing the money, so they want more money. So that's why they join, the cartel, and then also created Tren de Aragua. That's a creation of Nicolás Maduro. And President Trump put charges on Nicolás Maduro back in his first term. I remember in the first term, it was criminal charges with a price tag of 15 millions for him and 10 millions for his friends. And as soon as he took office this year, he raised the bounty to 25 million. And a few weeks ago, he raised it again to 50 million with an order of apprehension. So the reality is the people in Venezuela are starving. This is a country that used to have a stable middle class. The 60% of the population were middle class. Today, we're talking about a country that 94% of the people are poor. And 8 million were forced to leave the country looking for other opportunities. 8 million.
Wow.
This is a small country. Remember that this is a country that probably have, when I grew up, it was 18 million people. By now, they say it's around 25 to 30 million. 8 million were forced to flee, looking for other opportunities. And the ones that were not forced to leave during the Biden administration, Nicolás Maduro sent Tren de Aragua and other criminals, and we know this is a terrorist group,
right,
the United States. So President Trump knows that Nicolás Maduro is involved in the stealing of the 2020 election, and he knows he created Tren de Aragua, and he knows he's part of the cartel that is smuggling drugs, fentanyl, and others into the United States. So the damage to our nation and to our people, not to mention, the risk that he represents, because then in the country, in Venezuela, there is Hamas, Hezbollah, China, Iran, Russia. It's a major problem for the United States of America, for all of us.
Well, the last election, he actually, it is said in the reporting that he lost the election.
Which one?
The
2020?
last election for president, that Maduro
Maduro, he lost it.
So
He lost the election.
how did they manipulate? I mean, we know how they do it in the United States, but how do they do it? How did they do it in Venezuela?
Well, let me tell you, here is more convoluted because in the United States there is many ways to cheat. Not only the machine, that the software, as we all know, was created in Venezuela, but then we have ballots by mail.
Oh yeah, I mean, I know the meeting with the companies that went down there, Smartmatic and Dominion, and a
Well,
couple
I
of
was
others
the one that provided one witness for the
with
2020,
Chavez.
that is related to the Smartmatics people. So in Venezuela, it's only one day of election, only machines. So what happened is they created, Hugo Chavez ordered the creation of this software that I prefer not to say the name because if you say the name, you get in trouble. But we all know which software we're talking
Oh yeah,
about.
you get sued like I am. Yeah,
Yes. So
I
Hugo
think they
Chavez
settled. I think they settled with me now.
Hugo Chavez ordered the creation in order for him to stay in power forever. And that's how they have stayed in power. And then they have exported that software around the world. And they have been part of about over 80 elections stolen around the world with this machine. So that's what they do. But this time around, Maria Corina Machado develop a way into which they have the results we call it table, like poll by poll, and she have poll watchers and people that as soon as they count
Oh, I have to meet her. You got to arrange so I can
it's
meet her because
fantastic. They were
that's what I
taking-
did the second time I ran. I had to get poll watchers. I thought I was cheated the first time.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
they were taking pictures of their results, and she was uploading these into a system. So of course, and that's why they kept on saying, well, if you claim, Nicolas Maduro, that you won, then produce the ballots. He never did.
Well,
because-
neither did Georgia or Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania would never give Trump or me or his lawyers. I've never seen the ballots to this day. If they want to disprove me, they got a great way to do it. Just give me the ballots, and I'll go pick out. I'll go pick out thousands that are phony. But
And it's sad that United States have come to be a version of Venezuela, and it's sad to see. And listen, this is the country I was born in, but this has become. I grew up in a country that was on the road to development. Now it's really a third world country, and so I call it a banana republic. So it's impressive that a banana republic.
It shouldn't be a banana republic. It should be a great country. Venezuela,
Yes, they have made it
Argentina.
a banana republic. This
Venezuela,
banana republic is controlling the world.
Venezuela, Argentina, Brazil, and Colombia could all be great countries.
Yes.
Powerful allies of the United States. It would make us so much stronger against Russia and against China. I mean, even with now we have Israel and we're developing Japan, that alone dwarfs them.
That would be.
But I remember the days when Venezuela, I used to read about it. I was all excited about it. Venezuela is going to be like the richest country in Latin America.
We were.
And you have the resources for it. But your sister countries or fellow countries also have you got a lot of countries there that could be fabulous. And the communists are trying really hard to undercut that now. China is trying to do what Russia never was able to accomplish. They're trying to get into Latin America.
But they're there. Russia, China, Iran, they are in Venezuela. And that's why I think probably it's taking a little longer for President Trump to take action into everything he has already prepared, because I believe it's going to happen, because he's not going to move all the army and the artillery and everything he have moved to the Caribbean to do nothing. But remember, China, Russia, Iran is there, and then Hezbollah, Hamas is also in Venezuela. And this is why it's such a critical and such a problem for the United States that Venezuela and the situation in Venezuela stays like this. So the people of Venezuela understand, not only the people that are outside Venezuela, but the people that are inside, that this have to end. And let me tell you, everybody that is inside Venezuela and still are Trump lovers, because they see President Trump like the only person that can return freedom.
I'm sure that's true. Now,
Yes.
there's a problem with the Venezuelans in the United States that didn't exist before. That didn't exist before Biden opened the border. So Venezuelans, to me, are like the Cubans were. If a Venezuelan came before we had the open border, Venezuelan came to the United States. He's fleeing communism. She's fleeing communism. They should be accepted right away. All of a sudden, this guy has really confused the picture, because we have all these very legitimate Venezuelans, really tremendously productive people. In fact, if they could go back to Venezuela, they could fix it. But then you also have
highly educated people.
But then you have the criminals that Maduro sent in.
Yes.
We don't know how many. I mean, he was emptying his jails, emptying his.
Yeah.
So when people think of Venezuelans, they should. Lately, they start thinking about the criminals. They don't realize that there was a brain drain from Venezuela, and we got some very, very enormously productive people from Venezuela.
Highly educated, very productive, and
I know a lot of them. Yeah.
I came here to school. I came to college, and while I was here is when the situation when Hugo Chavez tried to, the two coups to overturn the government. So I decided to stay, waiting for things to get better. And of course, it never did. So I stay. And I have to remember that during these 37 years, we were from, when you say Venezuela, people said beautiful women and oil. And then we went from when the Venezuelan people started to come to the country, that were like the most educated immigration group that came to the United States and around the world.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Chavez. And now we're known by Tren de Aragua, and it's so embarrassing.
Yeah, yeah. So sometime when we get to meet, I'll share with you my experience of the mafia, because that happened to the Italian Americans also. They had to deal with the small percentage that were organized criminals and animals and horrible people. And most Italian Americans are very nice people, and that's true of Venezuelans too.
Same thing with
And
that.
it was true of Cubans. I handled the Mario boat lift for Ronald Reagan.
Yeah, that was the 80s.
And I was glad that I did, because I had very close relationship with the Cuban community and great love for them. And I was able to distinguish between the 100,000 really good Cubans that came in and the 30,000 criminals that Castro sent in. I mean, Castro did that in order to, Carter said, send me everybody. He said, okay, jerk, I'll send you everybody. And he emptied out his insane asylums, his prison. He sent people here that were absolutely wacky. I mean, unbelievable.
Well, he did what Nicolas Maduro did, the same thing. Empty the jails, completely empty the jails. And back then, remember, we used to have a hospital for the mentally ill that no longer exists. So he emptied those hospitals also. So he sent the crazy and the criminals to the United States in the 80s. And now Maduro, what he did is he sent the criminals that he actually trained, because that's
of course, right.
Right. Yeah. He trained Tren de Aragua. He is the head of Tren de Aragua.
So the Senate, in their ultimate wisdom, they're so wise. They want to try to limit the president from doing this, because I guess they like having all of the rapists and murderers in here. I mean, it's really amazing. And Rand Paul is going along with them. I mean, it's frightening. But
it's criminal.
Our president is our chief law enforcement officer, not the idiots in the Senate. My God, if the Senate ran law enforcement, we'd be run by Al Capone now. So he would purchase them.
Well, but it is criminal, because really the people are suffering in Venezuela. The people are starving. The people have the most miserable life, that they depend on what is called a clap box that doesn't even have good quality food. They have the worst of the worst. They're killing people.
Would you come up to New York? Would you come up to New York and give a couple of lectures to the young people on what the ultimate result of socialism and communism is with this Mondami idiot elected?
Definitely, because New Yorkers don't have any idea what they're up to, what's coming to them. And it's very sad. And that's what I say, that the problem that we have, even in red states, is that they allow for the cities to be blue. And they're like, okay, like even here in Texas, we're okay, we're red, but the cities are blue. Even now with the redistricting, when they redistrict, they still left the cities blue. And as long as the cities are blue, they can control the state and eventually flip the state like they did in California.
Yeah,
And
you're right. You're right. With a few exceptions, you can almost universally say if you find a Democratic mayor in a city, it's got a crime problem. It's got a corruption problem.
yes.
It's got an immigration problem. It's a sanctuary city.
Well, we are in Houston.
mean,
We are
they're
the number
horrible.
one. We're the poorest city in the nation. We just became the poorest city in the nation.
Which one?
Houston.
You've got to be kidding. You know, my law firm was in Houston.
Oh, really? No, Houston. A few weeks ago,
I was a partner for 12 years in Bracewell, Giuliani.
I
which
think
is in-
somebody mentioned me that.
Yeah, I
They knew
I
you.
spent a lot of time in
Did you go to the Houstonian Club?
oh, sure, all the time. I mean, I
You got
spent,
it. Yes.
I
Somebody
probably spent
you used to go there when you were here in town. Yeah.
on and off 2 months a year, 2 months a year there. But the main office of Bracewell was in Houston, and I opened their New York office.
Well,
I
Houston
developed
is
their New York
doing. My slogan is Houston, we have a problem.
Yep.
Because we have high crime. We are the poorest city in the nation. We are full of holes on the street. We drive SUVs, not because it's a fashion, but
Wasn't like
because it says
it wasn't like that when I was there. Now, so we're talking about 2005 until about 2014. And Houston, particularly in those early days, beautiful place.
well, no, it's run down. It looks like a third world
Wow.
country city. And every time it rains, it floods. That's why we have to have SUV. We have to have a sturdy car to survive the holes, and then high enough to navigate through the waters.
I don't.
And
Oh
the
my
crime
goodness.
is high. We're the number one city with the most undocumented, the most illegals.
Of course, yeah.
So we have many problems.
Well,
And the city is blue and the county is blue. And when they did the redistricting, they did not do a better work trying to make at least half of the district, half of the county, half of the city, half of the county red. And they just completely San Antonio, Austin, Dallas, Houston, they left it blue.
yeah. Well, we're going to see if we can change that. Are you going to run again?
Not in that district, because that district, when they redistricted, they made it. The reason why I run is because this district, after the 2020 census, became 45% Latino and 31% Black. It used to be mostly Black. This was Barbara Jordan's original district.
Oh,
They made it for her. But then it became, after the 2020, 45% Latino, 35% Black, 17% white, 3% Asian, and the rest a little bit of everything. And 20% of the new area used to belong to District 2, that is a Republican area. So that's when I ran in 2022 and I said, I can flip this. But of course, Sheila Jackson Lee had the chili down like a machine. May her rest in peace, but it's the reality. And the truth is the truth, and we have to say it. So that's why I didn't run in 2024, because I said it's impossible. But when Sylvester Turner, she passed away, Sylvester Turner took her position, passed away, I said, well, it's going to be a vacancy. Let me try it now. And they still, at the last minute, let me tell you what the Democrats did. I was going to be the only Republican. I was consistently second in on all the polls. On the deadline, they added 4 so-called Republicans that there is no picture about the people. If you investigate them, they always voted Democrat. But once they sang as a Republican, the Harris County Republican Party said, well, since there is more Republicans, we cannot help you. I said, but they are not Republicans. And that's something that we Republicans need to fix. We need to fix it. We just cannot take anybody to be.
Don't give up. I mean, you're terrific, and you'd make a great candidate for the Senate, for Congress, for state office. So let's keep talking, okay? Great job. It was terrific interviewing you. And I look forward to doing it again.
I
And meeting you.
I'll provide you a witness in 2020. So
Okay.
so we can talk about that some other time.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Carmen.
Thanks.
Isn't she a star?
Carmen's a star. Yeah. It really is. The reason I got so into it is I spent a lot of time in Houston.
Yeah. She's from.
So that I have, unlike a different law firm that I was with that got into the whole Trump thing and acted not like a law firm but like a bunch of political stooges. Was that her as Miss Venezuela?
This is her as Miss Venezuela, and she was second place. And I wonder if there was some cheating going on in that race. She was second place for Miss Universe. For Miss Universe,
well, I can't imagine who's going to be prettier than that.
That's what I'm saying. And then here's a nice family picture, more recent times, and she's just a star.
No, she's a very smart lady. Absolutely, Venezuela is a very interesting picture, and being able to be reminded of my days with Bracewell. I have very fond memories, and that's a great law firm. Anybody wants a good law firm in Texas, Bracewell is a great law firm. It's one of the establishment law firms, but it's not like the self-important jackasses that habitate most of the establishment law firms.
Are we going to send them a bill for that endorsement?
No, of course not. I love it. I do it for them anytime.
Of course.
So why don't we take a short break?
Yep.
And then we'll get everything out to people, and then we'll get them over to Dr. Maria.
Let's do it. So
I want to make sure you got all the information you're not going to get somewhere else.
Right. So we'll be right back.
Take a very short break. Whatever you have left.
Yeah.
To sell.
Yeah. After these messages, we got to bring them up here.
Don't forget to contribute to T2T.org.
That's right.
That's the important one.
That's right.
Send your $11 in.
That's right.
Don't bother to watch.
So we're going to take a short break. We're having a small technical difficulty here, but
if you can't figure out $11 a month to help soldiers and law enforcement people who can't walk anymore, or who died, or who are homeless, I don't know. Only like 5% of what you send them, or 8%, goes for administration, which is about the bare minimum and to stay legal. U.S. Army Major Scott Smiley paid a high price serving our nation. Scott was leading his platoon in Iraq when a blast sent shrapnel through his eyes, leaving him blind and temporarily paralyzed. Scott would become the first blind active duty military officer before medically retiring years later. Thanks to friends like you, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation gave Scott and his family a mortgage-free, specially adapted smart home. Show your support for America's heroes now. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org.
Are you ready for some action?
I'm ready for action.
Get the Elite TV plan only through the portal. 218 channels, and it's only $69.95 a month,
Wow.
including your free portal.
That's cheaper than everyone else.
Your favorite sports, movies, news,
Wow.
even daytime dramas. We're talking about ESPN, OAN, Newsmax,
Wow.
channels you can't get anymore in certain areas.
Compared to the competition, this is a way better deal.
Endless selection. Not to mention all the free music channels. There's over 700 premium and classic movies all ready to go.
Wow.
Plus, they got catch-up TV that allows you to go back and watch what you've missed or want to watch again. Cut your cable in half and get twice as much for free.
Way more channels for half the cost.
After the first year, the subscription then drops to $57.95 monthly,
Wow.
where you change or upgrade anytime. Go to QUXNow.com and get yours today. Use promo code RUDY. Act fast.
Here we are, pretty much at the beginning of the process here at this pristine, I call it a laboratory. It's not like a factory, it's like a hospital. This is the beginning of the process for roasting. Deep grain, very good quality. Most people don't use this quality. We deal with small farmers because we like to know who we're dealing with.
They give us the highest quality, all organic, non-GMO. You should know all Arabica beans. No Robusto, all Arabica. They're going to go into the roaster, and it'll get roasted for about 20 minutes or so. Oh my goodness, look at these. My goodness. You're going to want to specially order these. This is what goes into Rudy's coffee.
You ready? Oh, welcome back. Well, I thought that was a fascinating interview with Carmen.
Right.
And I do think the situation in Venezuela and the Venezuelan people is a very complex one. That can't be like easily run over because we have the illegal immigration and we have the Tren de Aragua and the whole thing. It's like the Cuban situation was after the Marielitas, but it's more complex. It's bigger in scale. But we have an enormously valuable Venezuelan expatriate community in this country, enormously valuable. Very well-educated people from a country that's on its way to being the leading country in South America that got waylaid because of Castro and Chavez, with the help of the Democratic administrations in Washington. What you don't understand, and you're probably not going to accept until I prove it to you, unless you go back to my old podcast, which I'm going to resume, by the way, tomorrow. I'm going to tell you about in a little while. The Democrat Party has been afflicted with many, many horrible things. Party of slavery, right? I mean, you can't be much worse than that. The party of Boss Tweed and invented corruption. As I said, Republicans, of course, have individual corrupt people. The Democratic Party, it's systemically corrupt. And in big cities, it's if you can be more than systemically corrupt, it's more than systemically corrupt. But the only way we're going to extricate these cities from that is to extricate them from the Democrat Party. That's the reason I didn't support Cuomo. I didn't support Cuomo because I didn't see the benefit in Cuomo over Mondani. Mondani is a disaster, and Cuomo would be a disaster. Any continuation of the Democrat control over New York City is a disaster. I went over the list of mayors. I went over the years of Democratic leadership. I mean, this corruption began in the 1830s. We have a court system in the Supreme Court of New York in 4 of the counties. It's a joke. They're appointed by the judges who are supposed to make wise and impartial decisions are appointed by some of the worst people in the borough, the Democratic borough leaders. And the incidents of corruption over the years of history are legendary. And they haven't stopped. And if you really want an example of it, and you want to test my statement, please just take a look at the 2 trials that got national attention with Judge Engomaron and the judge whose daughter made millions with Biden, who tried Trump for a crime that doesn't exist. Actually, you cannot figure out what he was convicted of, because he was convicted of a false statement in furtherance of another one of 4 possible crimes, none of which were decided on unanimously. So we don't know what he was convicted of. It's the most insane, idiotic, moronic insult to Anglo-American justice ever. And the fact that they can't reverse it is an indication of how corrupt they are. The second one, Engomaron, is even worse. Engomaron is a massive judgment for 400 whatever million that Engomaron pulled out of not his brain, some other part of his anatomy, because he doesn't really have a brain. He has that woman sitting on his lap who tells him what to do. She's the the Democratic Party agent. That's exactly the way they do it in China, and exactly the way they did it in Russia. The judge, they're not going to trust him all by himself. They have the Democrat Party, Communist Party agent to make sure that he screwed Trump. Now, you need any more than he valued Mar-a-Lago at 18 million? Do you realize how completely, ridiculously insane that is? And how corrupt you have to be to submit to that? So we got a lot of work to do. We don't have a lot of time to do it. And cleaning this up, there's so much to be cleaned up. So much. And then we get, little setbacks like this Muslim mayor. It can be a disaster. And it's not necessarily because he's a Muslim. It's the kind of Muslim he is. This isn't some peaceful Muslim. This isn't some Muslim who says, that stuff that Muhammad said, it was a long time ago. We don't believe it anymore. No, he supports the ones who believe it, who believe that, what they're doing with the Jews is, you got to wipe them out. Got to wipe the Jews out. Now, you want to take a look at Africa? I don't know. Are enough of you involved in a Christian religion so that you would have empathy for this? So in Africa, there are a lot of wars, right? 8, 9. You probably have the general impression they're civil wars. They haven't had a civil war in Africa in 15 years. They're religious wars. The wars in Africa are Muslims trying to kill Christians, trying to eliminate Christians. Not just kill them, but eliminate them. Why do you think Trump is threatening Nigeria? And it got to be that Tucker Carlson and all those characters are going crazy because he's supposed to be the isolationist. And now, there you go. That picture is a picture off the coast of, that's a USS Gravely warship. And it's off the coast of Port of Spain, which is in Trinidad, which is 12 miles from Venezuela. That's one of about 40 that we have there. If you're Maduro and you're looking out on the ocean, you got probably it's a heck of a lot bigger than the Spanish Armada. That's for sure. They were just little teeny ships, and the English kicked the shit out of them. So I don't know, jerk off. You're going to have a real problem with this. You know who I like the most? I like those special forces they have there. Those guys will come up your sewer pipe and get you.
Right.
They will.
Yeah.
And he's one horrible human being, Maduro. And do you realize how many Americans he's killed with the drugs that he sent into the United States, with the Trenderagua that he trained for? How about, you could make him an accessory to the murder of Lake and Riley.
That's right.
That guy was 4 months out of Trenderagua, comes to America, gets treated beautifully and wonderfully by Adams in New York. They give him a credit card, all kinds of things, and he ends up in Athens, Georgia, and within 3 days he's raping women. Yeah, they are massive criminals. They're massive drug dealers. They're involved in human trafficking, and they have a high propensity for perversity. These are an extraordinarily perverse group of people. I've never seen so much perversity in illegal aliens as the group that they send in. They got to pick them out specially because it can't be representative of the population.
Right.
The tariff argument in the Supreme Court today was a little disturbing. A little disturbing because and I didn't pay full attention to it. I paid half attention to it, and I'm not so sure if the Supreme Court isn't going to say that the president exceeded his authority with the tariffs, because for some reason the Solicitor General, and maybe I could see if we can get Alan Dershowitz on.
Yeah, we should.
I don't know why they didn't have Alan Dershowitz argue it. He knows more about the Constitution than the Solicitor General. I'm sorry, Solicitor. I don't even know who you are. but I used to fight with solicitor generals who I'm sure are better than you. And why the hell aren't you arguing the constitutionality of it? You're arguing the statute. The statute's very limited. Now, I think the justices, Alan is very afraid you're going to lose, and because you didn't argue the right things. You didn't argue the right things. But I have faith that the justices will. See, once they get around to figuring out, but this is an argument that all the tariffs that the president has imposed are illegal. Congress hasn't authorized them. Congress has to authorize the statute. So the tariffs. So you can legally base this on a lot of things. So they base it on a law that was passed by Congress that gives the president limited authority to deal with tariffs, and therefore they argue he went way beyond that. If you just look at the statute, that's not so bad. However, the president also has the constitutional authority to conduct foreign policy. And if what he's doing is using a tariff as a tool or a weapon in foreign policy, then Congress's ability to interfere with him is much less. And in fact, to interfere with him in the middle of trying to work out something for the benefit of the country is probably constitutionally prohibited. They didn't argue that. And the court didn't ask about it. So a lot of lawyers walked out of the court with their heads scratching. Can we ask for a new argument or something? I'll go, or I'll send Alan. I think we could win this case if we argued it correctly. I also think we could win it because the justices are smart as hell. And just because you haven't argued something doesn't mean the judges in conference won't come up with it themselves. I clerked for a judge, saw it happen a lot. So, and usually with a lot of cursing about how stupid the lawyers were for not bringing it up. I had a judge that used to, when lawyers were like this, he would say to them, "Where'd you go to law school?" And they would say, I went to Harvard. I think you should get your money back. Didn't do any good. So let's see what happens. It's Learning Resources Incorporated versus Trump. It could negate all of the tariffs that have been collected. I don't know. It's in the billions, if not trillions of dollars.
90.
What? 90 billion? Yeah, they would have to be given back, maybe. The court could also say, well, you can keep that, but you can't go further. The complexity of giving it back might actually get them to that practical result. Finally, the complexity of it all might get them to re-examine the whole thing and themselves get to the constitutional argument. This is a extremely dangerous interference with the ability of any president to protect us if he doesn't have this available as a weapon. And he's used it so effectively with China and with other countries. I mean, it's amazing what he's done with tariffs. And I know that pettifogging little economist pinheads don't get it because they're thinking of it just, academically as a tariff. This isn't a tariff. It's like a gun. And sometimes these countries like China are more affected by that than a gun. Also true of Putin. So taking that weapon away from him, I don't see it. I mean, they could go back and argue this again, and they may have to. We'll have to see. If you think that Mondami is going to be able to get away from the crazy things that he promised, free grocery stores, free buses, free daycare, got to be more things that are free. Just about everything. Linda Sarsour, who could be maybe one of the worst human beings in Washington and one of the biggest haters of the Jewish people and America, has promised that she's going to keep him. I wasn't really happy about the news that he was going to keep Tish on the NYPD, Sarsour said. What's most important is that in New York City, the police commissioner works for the mayor. Now, if she doesn't do that and goes against the mayor, then when we're going to have to go to Zoran and be like, you definitely made the wrong decision here. Well, Zoran flipped on that already. The next day after Linda Sarsour went like this, he said, well, you know, the commissioner is going to have to listen to me. You have to listen to me. He's going to have to follow my policies. Basically, like, don't arrest people. I can't see Jessica Tisch corrupting herself. She had such a great record for the short time she was there with Adams. Everything positive. Let's see. I'm pretty certain she seems like a principal. She seems like a principal person. She's going to walk out on that guy so fast.
Right.
He's going to make his head spin.
Yeah.
So let's keep a very close watch on what happens in the Caribbean. These ships are not there so that the crew can get a good suntan.
Right.
You know, they're and these are some of the greatest warriors in the world who now have been reestablished under Pete Hegseth as warriors.
Yes.
Right. They're not there to make peace.
Right. The warrior ethos.
The State Department makes peace. The War Department kills you. That's what we have soldiers for. And we don't have soldiers to negotiate. We got diplomats to negotiate. The soldiers know how to save your life. So let's finish off, and I'll tell you what we have there, because it's really quite impressive. And then tomorrow night I may even show you. We have a carrier strike group with our biggest and best aircraft carrier, the Gerald Ford, world's largest aircraft carrier. It has 90 airplanes on it. 90. It's like an air base.
Gerald Ford, Michigan.
Then it's accompanied by 4 ships that kind of protect it and also kill the enemy. Two Burke-class destroyers, 3, I'm sorry. And then a cruiser, the USS Lake Erie, an older, larger cruiser with a strong focus on anti-air warfare. Then right nearby, we have a guided missile destroyer, also Arleigh Burke class. That's the USS Gravely that I showed you. So that sends out guided missiles, like they want to hit a little apartment building. Boom. Then this is several attack submarines who can shoot Tomahawk cruise missiles from the bottom of the ocean. You don't see it until it comes out of the ocean 14 miles away.
It's too late.
Yeah. Go ahead, Maduro, go run to the bathroom. He's got 1, 2 of those. Then he has landing craft in case they want to do an invasion. He has an amphibious, he has several of our biggest amphibious assault ships, again, in case they want to do an invasion. I mean, I'm telling you, they're not there for suntans. Yeah. He's got several. We talked about the Tomahawk missiles being given to Israel. We have them, and they're sitting in the Caribbean right now on at least 3 different ships, including a submarine. And maybe the president, who hates to use force if he doesn't have to, right? Oh, and by the way, we also have backed up amphibious transport docks, support troops and logistics in Puerto Rico, and several auxiliary vehicles in Puerto Rico in case we need them. That's about 10 times more than you would need to defeat Venezuela. And something's going to happen. We didn't waste all that money putting him there so that Maduro stays. So pretty soon we'll come up with a song, Bye Bye Maduro.
Yeah.
Go where you belong. And I don't want to say where that is because I don't want to be mean. So we're going to have to absorb this election. I do believe that this is a very, very strange and horrible way, a very positive development for our country extricating itself from the hole that communism has had on us for quite some time, and the hold that it's had on the Democrat Party, going back to at least Woodrow Wilson, right through the Truman administration, right through before that, the Roosevelt administration. Things like giving away Eastern Europe to Stalin, ending up with a ridiculous solution in Korea when China could have been had in days. They were a devastated country, and we let them frighten us under Truman, not Truman, the communists around Truman, and Truman was just a little too stupid to figure it out. Truman is the most exaggerated revival of a president that ever existed. Yep, he got the Cold War off to some kind of start, but he got off to the wrong start, a start of détente that had to be reversed eventually by Reagan. That could have been done at the very beginning. You didn't need those 20 years of empowering Russia and China. But if you have sitting around you dedicated communists, you get the wrong advice. So, Ted, you got anything else?
Well, we've got just kind of a shift here, but we had a massive crash of a UPS plane in Louisville. That
got a tremendous amount of worldwide. I mean, I checked all the international newspapers, and they're not covering Mamdani. There's very little coverage overseas about the election.
Right.
That got covered very heavily. Argentina is being covered. Not Argentina. Venezuela is being covered very heavily, but not that.
Right. And well, there's 12 dead so far, and still at least a dozen missing in this crash. And we're just going to pull up some video here we have from multiple angles. The plane appeared to lose its left engine on takeoff and didn't really make it far into the air.
Are they trying to blame it on Trump?
Came down over businesses.
Are they trying to blame it on Trump?
Well, it did appear that the Kentucky there, Governor Beshear, one of the Democrat Party, one of their stars, they're really a real star. That guy is, right. Andy Beshear came out and
I can't even spell his name. How much of a star is it?
Yeah, right. No clue how to spell his name, but he cited the government shutdown during a speech.
The plane took off and the wing fell off.
The left engine.
The left engine fell.
We're gonna put the video up now.
So that's because they didn't have an the air traffic controllers fixed the engine.
Bro, get the fuck away from here! Like, turn around. Bro, no, hold on. I think it's gonna crash, bro. Holy shit! Holy shit!
Oh my God.
There's another angle here. You can see it doesn't really make it off the ground, and it does fall onto a number of businesses, and that's why we're seeing the death toll that we're seeing. Monitor that. Again, 12 dead and a dozen missing.
You also should be told that, and you won't be told this, because the New York Times and others like to glorify the president of Sheinbaum, the president of Mexico, who also is a communist. But they love to glorify her. The other day, on Saturday, the mayor of Uruapan, which is the avocado capital of the world, by the way, in Mexico, who was an extraordinarily brave Mexican who used to help lead his police against the massive cartels that control her government, was shot and killed during a candlelight ceremony for the Day of the Dead. The Day of the Dead is one of the most important and religious days in Mexico. In America, in most of the rest of Western Christianity, it's All Souls Day, which comes after All Saints Day, 2nd of November. But to the Mexicans, not even sure this is true of the Spanish in general, but to the Mexicans in particular, this is a very, very holy day. And they just gunned him down and killed him because he had wiped out a lot of the cartels. And he was very critical of President Claudia Sheinbaum, who he says sold out to the cartels. Do you know what she blames she on Monday after that she said returning to a militarized strategy in the war on drugs won't curb impunity. She blamed the country's security crisis. Catch this. God, she could be a hell of a Democrat. On the hardline policies implemented by administrations that governed Mexico from 2006 to 2018. So the problems in Mexico with the cartels controlling her government is what happened 8 years ago because of tough policies on them. I mean, you might as well come and join the Democrat Party or the Socialist Party everybody says you're a communist, Shinbaum. I knew your boss. I worked for him. He was a communist. But he wanted to reduce crime, and we did. The U.S. government has several times threatened to take unilateral action in Mexico if they don't get control of the cartels. They are not getting control of the cartels. And maybe after Venezuela, we bite the bullet. And it's quite obvious she's getting money from the cartels. Every time the president talks about cracking down on the cartel, she cries. So, gee, I figured that one out.
Right.
I don't think it was true of Lopez Obrador, her boss. I think he was an honest man. That's at least, that was a long time ago, before the cartels were as powerful. I mean, it is possible that maybe you have no other choice because they'll kill her. That's also possible.
That is.
But we got to break the power of the cartels there. We've kind of cut them off for illegal immigration, but we haven't cut them off from drugs.
Right.
So please pray for the people of Israel so that we can finally get to a peace there that really means a real one, not all the years and years of phoniness. Pray for the people of Ukraine. They're still getting killed for no reason. There's no reason for that to continue. And all Putin is doing is killing civilians. His soldiers die, and they're civilians. It's a horrible example of just how evil that man is. Pray for the people of Iran, because slowly but surely, I believe they're going to get rid of the reign of terror. And pray for us, the American people, and for the president, so that he has the strength and the wisdom and all of the things he needs from you. He works so hard. Take care of him.
Right, Mayor. And I think before we go, one more thing we may want to highlight as somebody that you knew very well and worked with over the years.
Dick Cheney, of course.
Of course, the
I should have
passing
mentioned
of
Dick Cheney. Now, I have a different view of Dick Cheney because I know him before, and when he was an enormously patriotic and an enormously effective person. I met Dick Cheney for the first time when he was the chief of staff to Gerald R. Ford, and he conducted a lecture. He's only 4 years older than me, and he conducted a lecture for the new chiefs of staff. I was the chief of staff to the deputy attorney general. It was the best lecture I ever got on how to be a chief of staff. I guess you don't get too many lectures on that anyway. But I kept the notes of it, and I used to give it to all my chiefs of staff. And I don't know where the notes are now. Then you should know, of course, I knew him all over the years. It was on September 11, 2001, that I called Dick Cheney after being trapped in before we were trapped in the building, a block and a half or 2 blocks from the tower that came down. And as I was waiting for him to get on the phone, the tower came down, crashed on our building, and cut us off completely, and trapped us in the building for 45 minutes. And the last thing I heard before the building got hit, and everybody went under the table, and the building started shaking, and the table started shaking like it was an earthquake, was the vice president will be on momentarily. And then the governor thought as a result of that we were killed because they saw us go in the building and we didn't come out.
There you are.
That's the governor. He came right away, He came right away. That's Governor Pataki, who had actually drawn up the orders to replace me because he thought I was dead. There's Bernie Kerrick over his other shoulder, who unfortunately died just a few months ago. Great, great commissioner. Couldn't have done it without him. And I think in the middle is Richie Shearer. Richie was the head of the Mayor's Office of Emergency Management and probably got the least credit of the three, but should get equal credit with the fire commissioner and the police commissioner.
Right.
And
you mentioned
he was just
him.
unbelievable, brave as hell.
And
And that's at a Yankee game.
he even wore the Yankee hat.
Well, he can't be all bad. I mean, it was his, I was very upset with him, of course, when he support. I think he went too far in supporting Kamala Harris. I can see supporting your daughter. If it was my daughter, I'd support her probably also, but I would not go ahead and
calling him a danger to democracy.
No, it would be like, I mean, my God, it would be, yeah,
right,
Dick. But he was getting old, and who knows if he had all his wits about him by the time he did it. It certainly doesn't wipe out the great contributions he made to this country.
Right.
That were never really appreciated the way they should be.
Yeah, he was
I mean,
demonized as vice president by the media.
Yeah, he wasn't that at
so,
all.
It was so
He
unfair.
wasn't that at all. He was a very, very rational, reasonable, smart,
Oh yeah, they
American patriot, and
Hillary Clinton called him
just not the best shot.
Hillary Clinton called him. Hey, he would laugh. Maybe he wouldn't laugh at that one, but
No, he said that was the worst day of his life.
yeah, he felt so bad. It was his friend.
I mean, my
it was
God,
his
it was
friend.
a mistake. I mean,
It was a good friend of his.
Yeah.
And the media, who already beat up on him every day of the Bush years, that only. I mean, you can imagine. I mean, I was in high school at the time. I can imagine the media had a field day with that one.
Oh yeah, of course, because they hate him at that point.
They probably,
and then, of course, at the very
did
end,
it on
of
purpose.
his life, they loved him when he went against.
Oh,
Trump.
exactly right. It is none of those cases, right? Where
What a bunch of whores.
yeah.
Well, on that note, we're going to tell you to come back tomorrow. Who knows what's going to happen? I don't know. I mean, it may be that Mondami brings China in to advise him, Red China into advise him. Could be. Red China has a pretty good foothold in New York. Remember, they had that police station there for years, and nobody did a damn thing about it.
Right.
So you come back tomorrow, 7 o'clock on Lindell.
Lindell TV.
Mm-hmm. 8 o'clock here on X. And now go over to Lindell TV and watch Dr. Maria. God bless America.
Hey.
It's our purpose to bring to bear the principle of common sense and rational discussion to the issues of our day. America was created at a time of great turmoil, tremendous disagreements, anger, hatred. There was a book written in 1776 that guided much of the discipline of thinking that brought to us the discovery of our freedoms, of our God-given freedoms. It was Thomas Paine's Common Sense, written in 1776, one of the first American bestsellers, in which Thomas Paine explained, by rational principles, the reason why these small colonies felt the necessity to separate from the Kingdom of Great Britain and the King of England. He explained their inherent desire for liberty, for freedom, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, the ability to select the people who govern them. And he explained it in ways that were understandable to all the people, not just the elite. Because the desire for freedom is universal. The desire for freedom adheres in the human mind, and it is part of the human soul. This is exactly the time we should consult our history. Look at what we've done in the past and see if we can't use it to help us now. We understand that our founders created the greatest country in the history of the world, the greatest democracy, the freest country, a country that has taken more people out of poverty than any country ever. All of us are so fortunate to be Americans. But a great deal of the reason for America's constant ability to self-improve is because we're able to reason. We're able to